The Mercedes-Benz B-Class, the often forgotten child in Stuttgart's stable. While other models are sleek and stylish, this car is very practical, and so it doesn't stand out. But the new B-Class promises to be more sophisticated and more upmarket than ever before. In Malaysia, the new B-Class is available in just a single variant, the B200. It is priced at 239,888 ringgit. That makes it 10 to 12,000 ringgit more expensive than the equivalent A200 sedan and hatch. But as you'll see later, you do get a little bit more for your money. Now for that, you get the same 1.33 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine as the A200. It's developed in conjunction with Renault, and it produces 161 horsepower and 250 Newton meters of torque. Drive is sent to the front wheels through a Getrag 7-speed wet dual-clutch transmission, again the same as the A200. This being a 5-seater MPV, the B-Class is obviously not quite as sporty looking as the A-Class, but I still think it's much better looking than before. The headlights are slimmer, and they get twin lines for daytime running lights rather than just a single one for the A-Class. And the B-Class has the same proportions and the same one-box look, but the design has been simplified just like the A-Class. I do like the look of these wheels. They measure 18 inches in diameter, and they have this twin spoke look with the two-tone finish that I think really sets off the look of the car. Now it's at the back where you'll find most of the similarities with the A-Class, with these broad two-piece taillights over here, and this three-dimensional ring looks very good when it's lit up at night. Now again, this is a very practical utilitarian car, but I still like the look of this thing. But what do you think? Let us know in the comment section below. Now let's go check out the inside. Inside, the first thing you notice is how high you sit, even with this driving position set to the lowest. This gives you a great view out with these big windows. You can't really see the front end because it's very short, but you have parking sensors at the front, so that's not a big issue. You'll also notice that you're sitting fairly upright because the pedals are positioned very low compared to where you're sitting. Then again, this being a family car, that's not a big issue again. As usual for Mercedes, you also have a powered front driver and passenger seat with memory functions for both, so that's very good indeed. As for the rest of the cabin, well, it's very similar to the A-Class. You still got this big flat screen display in front, these turbine style air vents, as well as a dazzling 64 color ambient lighting system. You also get open pore wood trim on this car, the same as the A200, but it doesn't span the entire width of the dashboard. You only have it in front of the passenger as well as on the door cards over here. So you still get a lot of hard plastics down here on the dashboard, on the center console, and on the door cards over here. But the dashboard seems to have more soft touch plastics compared to the A-Class, just all around here. And it also seems like the rough edges have been smoothened out. Take the center console for instance. On the A-Class, it was all gloss black plastic. It attracted dust, it attracted fingerprints, it attracted scratches, and there's a very sharp line running down here, and it just felt nasty. Here you still get gloss black plastic over here, but you have some nice metal trim down here, and the ambient lighting line is a little bit more prominent here. It just looks so much nicer. The metal trim also extends to the door pulls over here, so you've got this nice big handle for you to close the door. I really like that. You still get the Mercedes-Benz user experience over here with the twin 10.25-inch displays in front. One for the instrument cluster and the other a touchscreen for the infotainment. As with the A-Class, the system is very slick and very quick to respond, but it lacks some of the control logic of something like a BMW iDrive system. For instance, the steering wheel now has 17 separate buttons and switches, none of which will allow you to switch to a different radio station or to skip the track that you're currently playing. You have to go to the specific screen in the instrument cluster for you to switch up and down. That is actually not very good. This car also comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, which you can control using this touchscreen over here. But we can't show it to you because this car only comes with a USB-C port. There are no regular USB ports anywhere in this cabin, which gets quite interesting when you don't have the right cable or an adapter to use. Just like in the A-Class, this car comes with a voice control system which can be operated by saying, "Hey Mercedes." Now if you're used to the system in the Proton X70, then I'm sorry to report that this system is not quite as functional as that in the SUV. It's not very responsive, it doesn't quite understand what you're saying, and while you can do certain functions such as control the climate control system, it doesn't do that very well. "Hey Mercedes,
How may I help you?
set the temperature to 23 degrees.
What can I do for you?
There. Now that's because this car doesn't come with an internet connection, so it can't send your commands to the cloud for it to process and understand your commands better. It can only do stuff in here. That is only available with the Mercedes Me Connect function that is coming later this year. This particular unit doesn't have that. However, I do like this interior quite a bit more than in the A-Class. The A-Class looked very good, but it felt a little bit unfinished, a little bit rough around the edges. This feels more polished, more in keeping with a premium brand, which of course Mercedes is. Back here, you would really start to see why you would pick this car over an A-Class, because there's plenty of room back here. There's lots of leg room, you can slide your feet under the front seats, and you don't even have to worry about headroom because this car is so tall, so there's plenty of room. It's not all good news, however. Even though this car is front wheel drive, there's still a tall tunnel for you to have to straddle across when you're sitting in the middle, so 3 abreast seating is not ideal. You also don't get a reclining or even a sliding bench at the back. And worst of all, there are no aircon vents at the back. In a family car, I mean, there are going to be kids here. I don't know what they were thinking. Still, you do get rear USB ports, there are USB-C ports of course, and over here you've got twin cup holders at the back. The best thing about a car like this is that because the door opening is so wide and the roof so tall, mounting a child seat is actually so much easier compared to a regular car. As you can see, I don't even need to remove the seat from its base. I simply load it in like this, turn it around, make sure that the isofix points are located in the right position, and you simply slide them in. Now remember that you should always keep your child in a rear-facing position until they are old enough and heavy enough to sit in a forwards-facing position. And of course, child seats are now mandatory from next year onwards. Even if they aren't, you should always have your child in a child seat, even in short journeys. You never know what's going to happen when on the road. Safety-wise, this car comes with 7 airbags, stability control, autonomous emergency braking, and blind spot monitoring. Mercedes is the only premium car maker to offer autonomous emergency braking in its cheapest models, unlike some other brands. BMW. Sorry. One thing that this car has that the A-Class lacks is this: a hands-free powered tailgate. In here is 455 litres of boot space, which for an MPV isn't that much, but you do have a twin level boot floor over here that frees up some extra space. What I don't like is that there isn't a lever here for you to fold down the seats from back here. You have to go over here to fold them, which for an MPV is kind of lame. This car also comes with a mat to make it easier for you to clean your boot. And if you see over here, there's also a rubberized surface for better grip. So you just slot it in like so, and there you are. It's as simple as that. Now I've driven this car quite a bit, and I can tell you that the ride is a little bit firmer than the A-Class to compensate for the taller, more roll-prone body. However, it is still very comfortable even with that torsion beam rear end. As for the engine and transmission, it's the same as the A200. It is still very punchy, but it's a little bit rough when you're pressing hard. The dual clutch transmission is also a little bit hesitant when you're driving off, and a little bit too eager to kick down when you're just easing onto the throttle. Then again, if you're driving this car very normally, like you would with the B-Class, then it won't be such a problem. So there you have it, the brand new Mercedes-Benz B-Class. Again, it's not quite as showy or as flashy as some of the other models, but it does such a good job of being a practical family car that I actually like it a lot. So if you're looking for a spacious family hauler, then this should certainly be on your list. Until next time, thank you for watching.